Alright, y'all. Don't forget to show some support. Stream any of my music on your favorite platform or buy it. It's on all the platforms. Even really old stuff. You just have to look for it. It's there. Or you could donate. Just directly donate. I prefer you get something out of it, but you can donate to one of my blogs. If you hit the donate button, ELMC will come across the top. That's mine, okay? Just so you know. For this series, we're going to talk about repurpose, okay? I'm probably just going to use a lot of free stuff for this one and not invest anything in it because I'm going through some things where I'm having to reallocate funds, repurpose funds. That's funny. Anyway, we'll start off with be careful who you share your anointing with. Yeah, I understand why he was so difficult about giving it up to Elisha. Now, double portion, and I requested a double portion of what Elisha had, so that's a double portion of the originator Elijah, or a quadruple portion, a whole quadruple, whole 4 more parts. But anyway, because if you share your anointing with the wrong entities, they'll take it and they'll defile it, run off with it, and use it for their own gain to get popular, and they'll literally leave you behind. Yeah, for real. They'll totally insult you, like maybe replace you with empty space on stage and a pre-recorded track, just to really show the world that they think you're nothing. So yeah, be careful about that. But anyway, we have people are being repurposed. Some of us, our earliest memories are of doing something evil, and there's a reason for that, because, well, that's what we were purposed for too. We may have been repurposed easily by having our spirits sabotaged and sent to the wrong family or even as the wrong gender, as in my case. So then, you don't know not to be evil. You don't know that, they have you doing things and you just don't, look at this. It's like video games have tortured animals in them. And almost all movies or modern shows have some form of programming entities to be desensitized to animal cruelty, especially towards cats for some reason, because cats create positive frequency resonance when they feel good, when they purr, and that heals people, and they want people sick. And that's why they have laced the modern media not only with this, where if you don't have a proper sense of empathy, you're putting a lot of a lot of stuff in your non-tamperable, non-deletable spirit memory that is just going to, when you die, you're going to get time looped. There's lots of stuff that's suffered. The people who play these video games, they create a demand for torturing animals for their video games. And then their video games have a lot of evil in torturing them. There's just so much, so many entities that are going to die and get time looped as animals that they had no empathy for. They crossed paths with them, or, they were given the opportunity to make a choice not to hurt the animal, not to negatively affect the animal, and they affected it negatively. And then their spirit memories connect to the spirit memory of the animal. And when they die, the do unto others clause kicks in, and they get time looped as those animals. And then they get, plus all the other time loops they accumulated. Maybe as humans they negatively affected. Or if they made money from hurting an animal, or, from got a lifestyle and they neglected an animal or abandoned it, then their gain is ill-gotten gain. If they had whack influence, toxic influence in the modern media that didn't influence their fans to care properly for animals and children and taxpayers and stuff, well, that's ill-gotten gain. You got to get time with the slaves, right? So they're getting repurposed by Satan, aka the ancient artificial intelligence, not to be confused with Lucifer, who acted as buffer between Satan and Christ. All right? And this is where they've muddied the waters to make their followers ineffective, because all they want from their followers is money and, popularity and fame. They don't want their followers to really have anything. And they've been repurposed, even though they think they fulfill a purpose. Well, they do fulfill a purpose, and that's to keep people, their spirits, repurposed to Satan and to accumulate a debt. Because what happens after the time loops? Then their spirits are, the second death. Their spirits are executed. This timeline is a temporary timeline that gets reversed, kind of like taking a computer back to a restore point. And all those entities are like infected files. They don't get put back in here. They never get born. So it's kind of like pre-crime. They're in pre-existence mode right now. We all are. And it's to test our viability for real-world existence. If we'd be beneficial, you see, to all, to everything. Because if we're not beneficial to everything, then we have no right to graduate from this timeline. So while we're here in pre-existence, we're being scanned, spirit scanned. Our spirits are being scanned. And we're equipped with non-tamperable, non-deletable spirit memory that even records our thoughts and omissions. This is to, gauge our hearts and, what we really are inside. Because there are entities that don't have mental capacity that are being duped into doing things that they wouldn't do. And the spirit memory comes into play, whether or not it was done with malice or done with, done completely in innocence, you see. So that's why spirit memory is important, and why it's important that everyone be equipped with it, and all the entities that we interact with be equipped with it, you see. And these entities were in pre-existence mode that don't get reborn. They negatively affect things and never awaken to repurpose themselves, to try to positively affect things, to balance out their karmic energy levels, so that they have in their spirit memory recorded that they generated positive frequency resonance to combat the negative frequency resonance that they caused to be generated by the brainwaves of the entities that they negatively affected. Okay? Are you keeping up with me? I know it's a lot to wrap your mind around, especially if you're not high. I mean, for real. Because your brain wants to think faster than the content, because the content is in layers. There's 3 layers to this content. I don't intend to do it. It's just something that happens. And some people get all 3 layers of it. And it's a beautiful thing when they come back at me with something that's in a layer that I didn't even realize it was there, you see. It's like, wow, yeah, see, now that's the spirit, because I didn't realize that I was sharing that. I didn't realize that that's also what was being conveyed in the message, you see. So I want us to awaken to this, how we have been repurposed. Maybe the family we were going to go to, we were aborted. So then our spirit had to get born to a family that we shouldn't have went to. And then, we got programmed due to their norms to not have a proper sense of empathy. And then so we create a demand for stuff that we shouldn't create a demand for. There's all this stuff, dogfighting and it's like being entertained by suffering, being bullies. These are things that, these are entities that can't be allowed to exist in any other timeline and can't be allowed to exist in the real world. So yeah, they get second death. Their spirits get executed. Then this reverse timeline, everything gets reversed. Everything they did gets undone. Their lives gets undone. And it gets replayed. The next timeline is the millennial timeline. It's a decompression timeline. That timeline, when it gets started, none of those entities get born to it. And it's this timeline just replayed over again. Kind of like taking a computer back to a restore point, starting it at that restore point, sans contaminants. It's kind of how it works. God gets out of this that he finds out who can't exist in the real world. And they laid everything in escrow to come here to get tested for real world existence viability. So he gets what was laid in escrow. That gets passed on to those of us who graduate to the next timeline, and to their victims who will be in the next timeline, because their victims will be there, and their victims may graduate onto the real world from the next timeline, the decompression timeline. And that's why you should want to, if you've done evil here, you should want to pay the full penalty of the law. You should want to pay your karmic reciprocity here, instead of dying and getting time looped and spiritually executed, to never perpetuate what caused you to have to be time looped. You see, it's the snake eating its own tail. That is what your existence is here right now, because it is not an existence. It is a pre-existence. It's like the difference between mistaking a republic for a democracy. Okay? It's two different things completely. All right, so I want you to remember that you can support this ministry with, you can stream or buy an MP3. I've got lots of stuff. The Danielle One Night Rodeo group, that's not my stuff. It's just in there with it because it's got Danielle Chafani in there. But there's more pages, and then there's also, I don't know, I haven't put some new stuff up yet, but here's the address. It's still the same. And also, if you find one of these blogs, so you can understand that my mantle is in various spots. I don't have just one mantle of just being a musician or just being a teacher, because really, I don't regard myself as a teacher, and I'm not a pastor or a preacher, and I don't have an official teaching ministry up for support. Now, when you support my ministry, I feed homeless animals and stuff like that. A lot of times I'm broke because there's somebody that needed help that pops up right after I got a blessing, and that's like, I take the timing as, hey, well, I was supposed to be a conduit to pass this on. So I have faith that, that I can run into some conduits that might like something that I did and buy it, and maybe they might tell someone about it, and maybe they'll stream it or something, or maybe they'll like it enough, they'll stream it a couple times. And if you get a few hundred people doing that, eventually you get a few pennies because you hit the $100 threshold. Woohoo! And then they send you your $100, and it's like, that's where I'm at. I'm just looking for little $100 thresholds, man. I'm not trying to get the thousands of dollars that other people are getting. It would be nice, but that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to, at this point, I'm still trying to build up the pennies because, well, I shared my anointing with, the wrong people, and I got left stuck, and I'm paying the consequences for it, for my lack of discernment. Okay? I'm paying the price, and now I'll probably never, ever, ever share my mantle again with anybody, and I have to dismantle my mantle, contaminate it, just to protect the integrity of it to all of the timelines that are watching right now, watching me get made a fool of as this gets done by entities that, I just can't even describe how bad they hurt me, yo. All right, y'all. Good evening.